Happy Saturday, folks. Have a little bit of a new feature today. We're going to recap the week, and Misty, PLTY, and ULTY, we're now tracking their trades. You Max regulars probably know that. Anyway, let's recap the week, see where we ended up on those. So we'll start over here with Misty's trades. Now, they made a lot of trades Friday, squared a lot of positions up, and made some really good ones. I love when I see, like when you see BC 9 cents, they bought something that means they closed a position at 9 cents, which is good because that means they initiated these ones where they sell. You can see $3, $4, $5. They usually sell stuff in this account for 3 or 4. It depends, but they usually sell stuff for $3 or $4. There's a sell for $2. There's a sell for $4, $4. Here's a buy to close for 8 cents. Anyway, that's just them closing out trades where the option premium has diminished over time. So, but also they've rolled out a bunch of trades. And if we add up the net effect of everything they did yesterday, they spent $14 million just yesterday closing trades, buying stuff, but then they sold $58 million worth of options. Now, that wasn't all option premium. Only $40 million of that was option premium. But nevertheless, they had a nice trading profit yesterday of about $43 million. Which comes to about 1% of assets under management. If they traded like that every day, their NAV would be up about 238% on the year. As far as the yield goes, that came to about 1% too. If they made that much every day, which they don't, that would come to about a yield of 218%. Now let's go over to PLTY and see what they did. We've consolidated their trades as well. They also bought to close some stuff for 1 cent. Look, they did this 5,400 times. They bought something for a penny. Let's look there's a sell on the same amount, sold something for $1.61. Now they bought first and then they sold. So but basically they traded $1.61 for a penny. And that's pretty good. Anyway, if you add up all the stuff they bought and all the stuff they sold, they had trading profits of $713,892 yesterday, which comes to about 16 basis points on their assets under management, of which is $442 million at this point. That would equate to a NAV return of 35% a year if they could trade like yesterday every day. And then on the short option premium, they brought in about $1.4 million, which comes to about 34 bips. Which would come to about a yield of 73%, which wouldn't be bad on the year, but that's just one day. Then also we could look at ULTY. Now ULTY, they had a bunch of positions, but it wasn't a lot of money as far as option premium goes. The top 2 trades up here were stock purchases and sells. The top one, they were selling 700 shares of Webull. They got $12.45, which comes to nearly $9 million. Now we had to subtract that out from the income. Stock, you can only sell stock once, where you can sell options. That's the reason options are so attractive. You write covered calls every week or every month or whatever expiration cycle you're on. And in theory, it's repeatable, but with stock, it isn't. Well, anyway, my algorithm understands that. It separates it all out. And still, after all said and done, these guys made about $7 million in trading profits, but they only got $3.7 million worth of option premium. However, on a base of 300 million, that's not bad. That's a little bit more than 1%, which would equate to about, if they could do this every day, which they can't, would equate to about a 260% yield. So what we've done on the next sheet is I've consolidated. Here's all of Misty's days. We've been watching Misty from the 12th, all the way to Friday. I've consolidated it and I've added up all the short premium they've captured, and it comes to about 3.5% for the month. Anyway, you annualize that comes to about 84%. Right now, they're making enough to pay about an 84% dividend based on half a month's data, with huge caveats that I'm not tracking the T-bills. And also, they don't necessarily pay everything out. And also, I may not be on my math may not be on the same schedule as far as what days they're looking at to pay from. But that is how much money if they were looking at the same days and they did want to pay everything out, that's how much money is available, 84%, without factoring in T-bills, of course. All right, so PLTY, we've only been tracking for 3 days, but as far as their option premium goes, they've brought in about 7 million in 3 days, which is almost 2%. That'd be 140% if they could do that all the time. So they're running about 148% on the dividend tracker right now. Then only based on 2 days data, we can look at the same thing for ULTY. They're running about 142%. Of course, it is really early to tell on that. We can also look at the trading profits graphically. Here's Misty Trades. There's on the 12th. Red's how much went out in option premium, and green's how much came in option premium. Yellow is the net. So you can just go through here. You can see where their big days were. They had a big day last Friday also. Then the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Then this is this Friday. It should say 523 there. I'm sorry it doesn't. But big day yesterday in Misty land. Big day, big profits, big trading profits anyway. The NAV, the Misty itself has not had a great, has not been doing as well as some of the other ones. All right. Anyway, here's PLTY. Now PLTY, the last one is the total. So this is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You can see they made about 5.6 Wednesday, lost a little bit of money Thursday, and made about $700,000 yesterday. Total for the week is 5.4 million trading profits. And I showed you the dividend is running 140% or something. Is that right? I'm sorry. We just looked at that. Look on the composite. Yeah, 148% based on 3 days. So there we have that. And here's the ULTY trades. Now, this is just Thursday, Friday, and then the totals right there. All right. So there you have it. And those dividends are running 142, right? Yeah, 142. Okay, so now what I wanted to show you guys is the retirement simulator. The retirement simulator has kind of morphed more into retirement database, or really not retirement database. It's a high yield database. I've taken all the high yield funds that we track that have at least a quarter's worth of data. It can't be one that was released last week, but if it's been out 3 months, I just added NVW yesterday. There it is right there from Round Hill. You can see, and then this is just a database. This has everything I need to know. It has the price, trailing 12-month dividend. It has the momentum, a short-term momentum, a medium-term momentum. It has and what else does it have? It has the average true range. It also has a volatility factor, and it also has a yield. Of course, we know we can compute the yield, right? On NVW, it's only 9.67%, but this doesn't work. The Maxfactor doesn't work fully unless I have a year's worth of data. But anyway, we can start looking at some things. So that's why NVW is on here. All right. If we wanted to, let's pull the latest rankings. Here we have it. Sorry, here we have it. All right, here we have Coney. Look at Coney. Number 2 was Clip. I questioned it too, but I went back and checked the numbers, and it's factoring in short-term momentum, which Clip has good short-term momentum. All of these do. It's also factoring in yield, which Clip has pretty good yield, 41%, especially because it also factors in the risk. And Clip is not that risky considering how much it yields compared to other ones in its universe. And it's hot right now, and China's been hot for a while. So anyway, number 3 is an FLP. Number 4 is TSLP. Then we have Carvani, Snowy, Maxi, MSFO, AMD, Infly, Dizzo, NVW, Tesla, Triple QI, Goop, TSMY, QDTE, and MSFY. But it should be noted, I had to make allowances to put the ones that were not yet a year old to be able to compare them on the list. So these ones that aren't a year old are on there, but with an asterisk, because there were some assumptions made and stuff. But I feel confident that these are the ones that are the funds that are doing best right now, if you factor in yield and if you factor in risk and momentum. All right, there you guys have it. I hope you have a great day. I'm going to go give Jackson a dog bath. He's stinky and he needs a bathtubby. And I got a brand new thing of shampoo, dog shampoo, at the dog store yesterday. So we are going to have clean the dog day. How about that? Spring cleaning, we're going to have dog cleaning. All right, guys. I appreciate y'all for being here. Have a great day.